I shaved 36 minutes of my marathon time in just 6 months, and my coach was not human, was ChatGPT. Yes, an AI bot coached me through my marathon PR in the Frankfurt Marathon 2 weeks ago. But how does that even work? And is that actually better than a real coach? So this video is not sponsored. It's not about the tech hype that has been going on. It's about how I use ChatGPT to completely rethink my training, and from weekly plans to actual live feedback to pacing, mindset, nutrition, and everything, right? So if you ever wonder how AI could fit into your running or if it's just a fancy gimmick, stick around because on this video, I'm gonna show you how this experience was for me and how surprising it was. So let's go. So let's first rewind 6 months. I had just come off the Rotterdam Marathon that didn't go as planned. I was overtrained, I was under-recovered, I was mentally cooked, I was just not satisfied with my result, and I needed something new. So I needed a reset, right? So a smarter way to train without actually having to spend hundreds of euros of dollars or whatever a month on a coach or just another app, right? So I thought, what if I use ChatGPT? Not as a random question and answer tool like most people use it nowadays, but as an actual coach. Someone or something that I could actually talk to you daily, get feedback, adjust my training depending on what was going on in my life, adjust workouts, learn from, and go from there. So I came up with a plan. I went to ChatGPT and I told it, hey, you're my marathon coach. I'm 42 years old. I'm aiming for a sub 3:30 marathon. Currently, my last marathon was 4:01. I want you to build me a 6 months plan. And within seconds, I had a structure block from base phase, tempo progression, workouts, long runs, taper, all laid out for me just like a professional plan. Well, actually, the prompt I used was a bit more elaborate than that, and I'm actually going to post the prompt on the description. And on the next session of the video, I'm actually gonna describe a bit more how that beginning was for you guys. Now, ChatGPT is a magic. It only works if you feed the right info, right? The output is basically as good as the input that you give in. So after I started with the initial prompt, which I gave some direction to the ChatGPT on how it would act, which again, it is in the description of the video. ChatGPT came back to me with a bunch of questions, so I had to feed with a lot of like baseline data, things like my age, races I have done, my last results, my current mileage, my Garmin exports. So I went to my Garmin dashboard. If you use a Polar or some other watch, I'm sure there's some way you can get data out. So I exported that, I uploaded that to Garmin, I uploaded that to ChatGPT, and I also answer questions about my lifestyle, right? So how many hours a week I work, how many days a week I wanna train, how many hours a week I'll be able to train, am I doing strength training or not? There's all these questions that are important to feed into ChatGPT, so it has enough information to give you to build you a good training plan. And like I said, the output that you're gonna get from ChatGPT is only as good as the information you give it. So the more information and more context you give, the better output you're gonna have. And then after each week, usually after my long runs, where I was done with the week, because the long run is usually the last run of my week, I would again export my data from Garmin. I would feed it into ChatGPT and I would give some summary, which would be basically my opinions about the week, how the week went. Or Wednesday was like this, Thursday was like this, I felt this on Friday. The weather was maybe like this, although the weather, it's also part of the Garmin export. And then ChatGPT would answer back to me saying, hey, yeah, you did good this week, you did bad this week, your heart rate was up, down, or whatever. And you would really give me actual useful feedback based on the data that I was inputting back each week. It was like I was talking to a coach after a week of training, say, hey, this week went like this, and the coach would answer me, oh, you went stronger on your pace on this or that, and etc. Right? So this interaction really felt like that relationship was alive. Like I was actually talking to a real coach and getting really useful information back. In fact, I went as far as even telling ChatGPT, say, hey, I'm buying this and this and this shoe. This one is for training. This one I want to use on race day. I'd like it to also tell me which shoe I should use on each training day, right? So, and ChatGPT also helped me with that. Another thing that ChatGPT helped me with was on my nutrition plan, especially doing long runs. Like I've said before in other videos, your long run should be a rehearsal for your race day. So ChatGPT would also tell me, say, hey, on your long runs, you're gonna have one gel before, you're gonna have one gel on 12 kilometers, a caffeinated gel here, a not caffeinated gel there. Try to get hydrated every certain amount of kilometers. So ChatGPT went as far into that. So it was actually a very, very detailed type of feedback that I was getting from something that to be honest, I never got from a live coach in the past. And honestly, there were 4 things that really blew me away, right? The first one was the structure. AI is just amazing at pattern recognition. My plan was balanced. There were no junk miles. There was a clear purpose on every single training session. Like I mentioned, ChatGPT will go as far to tell me which shoe I should use on each training session. That was absolutely amazing. Another thing that really blew me away was the adaptability of my training schedule. During the last 6 months, I had vacations. I had a couple of days I got sick. I had family things I had to do. So when I knew those things were coming up, I would just tell ChatGPT, say, hey, by the way, I had an emergency this week, so I couldn't train yesterday, or next week I'm gonna be off for 4 days. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to run because I'm gonna be on vacation. And he would immediately come back to me, say, hey, there's no problem. There's not gonna be, we can adapt your training sessions. Instead of running 5 times a week, next week, let's try to do 3 times a week. Let's swap the workouts from Friday to Tuesday, and then you're good. So next week, instead of the important days being this and that, now let's focus on that day because that's the day that you're gonna be still training before your holidays. So the adaptability of it was absolutely amazing. And of course, it was always available to talk to, and I could just give it information anytime I wanted. It was just there. I wasn't like I needed to call someone or message someone and wait for that response, right? Another really important thing that happened, and obviously you can also get that with a real coach, was the education, right? The knowledge base of AI, as all of you know, is just endless, right? And a lot of times when I had a specific training session or a specific training week was laid out a certain way, I didn't really understand why that was that way. I would just ask the question, say, hey, why are we doing this amount of miles on this week? Shouldn't we be doing that? What's the importance of this? What benefits I could actually get from doing strides, and etc. And every time I would ask those questions, he would really give me answers, insightful answers with a lot of information where I could really learn from. And personally, I'm a really nerdy guy. You can see from my shirt, I'm a programmer, so I like to know things. I like to study things. So for me, that was amazing. Yeah. Oh, and the last thing that blew me away, but not least, was the relationship. And I know it's crazy to think about a relationship with an AI, and wait up, I'm not going crazy here. I just meant more of that like coach-athlete relationship where I could really get honest feedback. Like, for example, when I started my training with ChatGPT, my goal was to have a marathon at 3:40. But as I progressed, I felt like I really could go for a 3:30, and I ended up at 3:25. But when I told ChatGPT that, it didn't immediately agree with me and said, hey, all right, let's change everything and go for 3:30. No, he said, okay, I feel like that could be a good go for you. Let's try some workouts. Let's try some things out for the next following weeks. And depending on how it goes, we can adjust that goal for you. So that was, when I heard that back, it really felt like it was a real coach feedback that I was getting back. It was not just me asking something to AI and AI just agreeing with me regardless. So that was really good. But of course, it wasn't perfect, right? There are also some downsides from having a ChatGPT and AI as your coach, right? And the first one is, yes, there's no emotion to read. I talked about our relationship on the last blog, but yes, there's no emotion to read. The ChatGPT can't look into my eyes and see how tired I am, or can't really feel the stress in my voice on the day that something happened in my life. So that is something that you're not gonna get with AI or any like online coach or whatever. Another one is just a general risk, right? And that comes back to I said at the beginning of the video. If your inputs are not specific, if the data is not good, the output is just gonna be basic, and your output is gonna be bad. So the output is just as good as your input. So the more information, the more feedback you give to your AI, to your ChatGPT, the better output and the more specific trainings you're gonna get. So there is a risk to it. And I mean, last but not least, there's no accountability, right? When you have a coach, your coach is gonna call you at 6 a.m. and say, "Hey, where the hell are you? Why aren't you up and running yet?" Right? And that's something that ChatGPT is not gonna do it for you. Obviously, I know that there are tools nowadays that you can connect your AI to your alarm clock and whatever. And that might actually be a good idea for a startup, by the way, but at least ChatGPT wasn't doing that for me. Thankfully, I'm fairly well disciplined, so I didn't have an issue. If I have a schedule, I'm going to follow unless there is a death in the family or I'm sick. But other than that, I'm pretty disciplined, so I didn't have an issue with that. But that is something that a lot of people are going to feel by having an AI coach that doesn't make you accountable for your training. Yes. And the results? Well, on the Frankfurt Marathon 2 weeks ago, I ran a 3:25 marathon, which was 5 minutes under my goal. That's 36 minutes improvement for my last marathon. But more than time, I think it was the whole experience, right? I really trained smarter, not harder. Even though I did a lot of load and a lot of workouts during the last 6 months, but I felt it was the right amount of load and the right workouts. I stay injury-free. I don't think I've ever had a training block that went so well and so injury-free as I did for the last 6 months. And by the way, I'm 42. And I was recovering better. I enjoyed the whole process. I didn't feel burnout after the marathon like I did 12 years ago, for example, where I actually had a coach. And was it all ChatGPT? No, obviously, I'm also a fairly disciplined person, so I think that works really well for me. But on top of running, I also did strength work, which ChatGPT didn't do my planning there. I changed a couple of things on my nutrition, which I have mentioned on some other videos here. I might make a specific video just about that. But just having that well-structured and adaptive guidance and planning on demand, it really felt like I just had a coach in my pocket, right? And that, for me, made it a really positive experience. So here's my takeaway. Does AI completely replaces human coaches? No, probably not. But it can actually, I really think that it can actually make good coaching accessible to everyone, right? But that just comes down to you knowing to ask the right questions, feed the right information. And if you do that, yes, it can become an incredible tool, especially if you're a self-driven and well-disciplined runner or person. So if you're training for your next marathon and you don't know what to do, or you're just getting your training out of some random website, maybe try that experiment yourself and let me know in the comments what you think. feed ChatGPT your stats, your goals, your schedule, your Garmin, Polar, or whatever data, and see what it comes up with, right? And I think it might just surprise you. So thanks for watching, and if you really want to see exactly how I structure my prompts with ChatGPT and how I start to build that training, I'm about to start my next training block, and I'm thinking about just recording at least the first couple of weeks, my interaction with ChatGPT, doing a screen recording and everything. So let me know if that's something that you'd like to see, and keep an eye for my next video. And with that in mind, hit the subscribe button. That's the best thing that you can do to help the channel, and I'll see you on the next run.